What's up, everyone? In this video, we're going to go over the best stocks for the rest of this week and the important things you need to know about this crazy market. So the first thing I want to mention is how Robinhood stock is going crazy. Look at this absurd intraday movement with Robinhood. We're going to talk about exactly why this is happening. And then, Tom, let's also showcase a heat map of how today went overall, because the market had some industries that did very well, like the energy stocks like ExxonMobil, Chevron, and EOG. But some of these larger tech stocks definitely struggled a little bit, like Amazon, Google, and like CRM.
Yeah, they definitely did. You can see CRM there was down 2.48%. Google was down. Amazon was down in the red. Even Tesla ended up falling down. And Tesla was actually having a pretty good morning initially at market open. So they ended up falling back down in a big way. Some of the slower movers like Caterpillar and John Deere were kind of popping back up a little bit. Some of those healthcare stocks were also running. But yeah, overall, it was a pretty brutal day. We did sell back down, Mike. And I honestly don't think that the sell off was too surprising. We've been kind of saying this for the past few days now that the market was getting a little bit overextended. And at some point, we had to have some type of small pullback here. It looks like with the SPY, we have a huge intraday support here, right around 387.50. We bounced off of this like 3 times, and it seems like we're holding the ground for right now. So come tomorrow morning, I'll be curious to see if we open up or below 387.50, and hopefully we hold that and end up rising back up. And maybe that upwards momentum will continue, Mike, but who knows? We didn't really pull back too hard. We might end up falling down a little bit more.
Alrighty, tell us about Robinhood, Tom. That stock's going crazy.
Yeah, this was nuts. So this thing flew up in the middle of the day and actually halted on its way up. It was actually trading for like 845, then blasted up to 972 within two 1-minute candles. Keep in mind there was a halt in between that, of course, but yeah, that was insane, Mike. There's actually a rumor that they might get bought out by FTX, which is one of the world's largest crypto exchanges. FTX is huge. I should say like a crypto brokerage, or I don't know how you would exactly classify that, but it's huge, Mike. FTX is discussing a takeover plan with them. Bloomberg reported that news today, although it does say that Robinhood declined to comment to CNBC here for the article. So kind of interesting that Robinhood declined to comment on this, but as of right now, it's just a rumor. We can see that it says last month, Sam Bankman-Fried, CEO of FTX, took a 7.6% stake in Robinhood worth $648 million, according to a filing with the SEC. So that's pretty big that the CEO took a 7.6% stake. That's quite a bit of Robinhood, Mike, and who knows, that might signal that they are going to maybe pursue this.
Exactly. So, Tom, check out that Robinhood internal chart, or even if you looked at like the daily chart of Robinhood, it has been brutal over the past year. When this thing first IPO'd, it had highs of $85. Right now it's trading at $9 or actually it's trading under $9 for if you count after hours, but it's been a rough year for Robinhood stock. This acquisition or partnership or whatever you want to classify it as with FTX can be giant, but I just want to stress that this deal is in like the very beginning stages. As we've learned with the Twitter deal with Elon Musk, those things take time and there's a lot of negotiation and back and forth that goes along with them. So right now, to give you guys perspective, with the possible FTX and Robinhood deal, like literally FTX is just having internal talks. Like, there's a long way to go if a deal ever does go through.
Yeah, there really is. And like you said, Mike, we've had a lot of examples of this over the past few months, whether it's Twitter. I know Activision was another one that's in talks of getting bought out by Microsoft. And there's a whole bunch of different companies right now kind of going through this that will provide as good examples. I like the one you did, obviously, with Twitter and Elon. Everybody knows that one right now. And you can see Twitter initially popped up with that news. And then obviously now they're kind of selling off and it's just going very flat. So we'll have to see how these companies end up doing, Mike. But yeah, I hope this does end up helping Robinhood here over the next couple months. Like you said, their stock has been getting destroyed. And honestly, I was kind of hoping they would start consolidating somewhere around $10. So maybe we can break above that over the next few days. I hope that momentum starts flowing in, Mike. But you know what does worry me is while FTX taking them over is awesome, and I think that will help out Robinhood, of course. Keep in mind, there's already a huge crypto, I guess I could say like exchange stock here on the market, Coinbase, and they haven't been doing too well either, Mike. So, with crypto kind of falling down, it's honestly FTX will probably be down anyways.
Yep. Alrighty. Well, Tom, another thing I want to talk about is Russia and a very historic default. I saw some news today that they actually had their first bond default in a century.
Yeah, this is pretty big here. So they had interest payments totaling $100 million that were due May 27th and subject to a grace period that actually expired on Sunday night. So whenever that grace period expired, obviously that means now that Russia, I guess, is technically going to be going into default here, Mike. But the thing is whenever we looked into this article, you can see here that the Kremlin, I guess, which keep in mind that's kind of like the political party in Russia, they rejected the claim that Russia's in a default, and they actually said that they tried to pay this, but that the payments were blocked by Euroclear due to Western sanctions, rendering the non-delivery of the payments. And in his own words, or I should say in the quote here, it says that it was not Russia's problem. So I guess Russia tried to pay this, but obviously because of sanctions and issues like that, they were not able to. And like, let's be honest, they probably weren't trying very hard to pay it anyways. Obviously with all the fighting and everything going on, I'm sure that, them not paying something back is not going to be the end of the world to them. So I don't know, Mike, kind of a weird situation here, but obviously this has been nuts. I know yesterday we talked about the G7 possibly banning Russian gold exports or imports, and that would be crazy. But even this is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, so this is like one of the weirdest defaults you'll ever see because the default amount is very low, like relatively speaking. $100 million to a country like Russia is nothing. And then another thing is Russia claimed that they tried to pay it, but because, like Tom said, due to the Western sanctions, it's not as easy as it used to be. So it's a very weird situation, but it is important, so that's why we covered it. Tom, looking on through the rest of the week, what do we have in terms of the schedule and earnings and all that stuff?
Yeah, so as far as the schedule here, Powell's actually going to be speaking on Wednesday, which is going to be pretty big. And there's going to be some GDP numbers coming out Wednesday. It looks like that GDP price index and the GDP growth rate, QOQ, final Q1 there will be out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time Wednesday. That might be pretty big. We'll have to see. It's not highlighted red here, and usually all the bigger data points are highlighted red, but Powell speaking at 9 a.m. Eastern time Wednesday. That's going to be a pretty big event. Here's the actual thing he's speaking at. It's going to be an economic policy panel discussion at the European Central Bank Forum on Central Banking. A bit of a tongue twister there, but that's what he's doing on Wednesday at 9 a.m. in the morning. I know everybody's always keeping their eyes on Powell and what he's doing, Mike, so that's going to be big. Then we're going to have some more numbers come out Thursday morning at 8:30 in the morning, like personal income and personal spending, but I don't think those are going to be too important.
All right, and then what about earnings?
Earnings, this is actually going to be pretty cool. So tonight, Mike, we have Nike going on right now, actually. We'll have to see how that one ends up tomorrow. And then towards the end of the week, we have Ammo Incorporated, Bed Bath & Beyond, General Mills, and then on Thursday, we have WBA or Walgreens, and then Micron after close. I think Micron Thursday after close is going to be my favorite one this week, Mike. Walgreens actually is at a pretty interesting chart too, to say the least, but that one might be pretty interesting too, especially with all the, movement since COVID happened. I'd love to see them start to pop back up.
Yeah, I think Micron's definitely going to be the earnings release of the week, though. Thursday after close, keep your eye on it, guys. But Tom, let's get right into the momentum plays for tomorrow. With the first one, we have SE to the downside.
Yeah, C Limited. Go ahead and make them break below $74 even tomorrow, and that'll be right around that 1,000 SMA too.
All right, with the next one, we have Alibaba to the upside.
Yeah, Baba, they had a pretty good pop this morning. Go ahead and make them break above 120.
All right, and with the last one, we have Intel also to the upside.
Yeah, Intel. I'm glad to see them close green. Go ahead and make them break above 39.
All right, so we are watching Intel and Baba for potential day trades to the upside tomorrow, only if they break above the levels Tom listed. And then we are watching SE for a potential day trade to the downside tomorrow, only if it breaks below the level Tom listed. Before we move on, I want to give a giant shout out to our member of the day in the Stocked Up Discord, Perdinator. You've been super active on the live streams lately, so huge shout out to you. Thanks for the support. And Tom, let's get right into these comments from the previous video. With the first one, we have Bill asking about LI, Tom. This stock
Yeah.
had a wild past year. It's one of those EV stocks. It's kind of moves with Neo. It had an amazing run over the past couple weeks. In my opinion, it is a little bit overbought.
Yeah, me too. It is one of those stocks, like you said, it's been really running up over the past couple weeks. Honestly, almost like the past month, Mike. I went out on this 1 hour, 180-day chart here, and you can see ever since that earnings report back on like May 10th, they've pretty much been straight up ever since then. And, whenever we talk about percentages here, Mike, from the low to the high, LI has pretty much went up 120%. I mean, that is one heck of a pop there. So yeah, I'm gonna really keep my eyes on this one for a possible pullback here over the next few days. One thing I do like though, Mike, is a lot of those China plays like BABA and stocks like that started kind of popping up today. I know BABA was up, JD had a big gap up this morning too. If those stocks continue, I think that LI can continue up with those. But just keep in mind, their LI is just up so much in the short term. I would just think that we might consolidate or pull back a little bit here.
Alrighty. Then we have Carlos saying, if the Russian gold boycott by the G7 works, could we expect gold mining stocks to benefit as well, like GOLD and GLDG? It's definitely possible. Theoretically, if the supply gets limited, you would think that as long as the demand stays the same, that the prices of gold especially would increase, therefore helping, stocks or companies that mine for gold. That's all theoretical. So, of course, sometimes the real world is different. With GLD, though, I know this isn't necessarily a gold mining stock, but it does follow the price of gold very closely. I do like it, and I think it's a pretty solid hedge against inflation, and it kind of just does whatever it wants a lot of the times, and it's not too correlated to the overall market, which is a good asset for the type of economic environment that we're in.
Yeah, and like you said, with inflation going on, and especially with it being as rampant as it is, a lot of people, especially with fears being high, you would think would start to get into gold and more precious metals and stuff like that. So if inflation does stay higher, I think that that'll just help gold over the next year or so. And a lot of people are kind of projecting inflation to maybe stay up there for longer than expected. So we'll have to see how it goes. I know the gold market is definitely a tough one. Lots of countries are involved with it, like Russia, of course. China has a lot of gold. The US obviously has a lot. And, it's something that countries and their central banks use in a pretty big way. So we'll have to see how it ends up moving, Mike. But, it seems like as of right now, believe it or not, GLD is kind of on a small downtrend. It was actually all over the place today to slightly down. So I hope it can maybe hold this 170 support and start to pop back up, especially over the next few days. And who knows, if we start banning Russian gold, then man, then it might really pop up or at least get some volatility.
You know it. Guys, let us know what stocks you're watching in the comments down below, and there's a good chance we'll cover them in tomorrow's video. Just let us know whatever you're watching in the comments down below. Also, if you are new here, make sure to subscribe. We post brand new videos every single day. But Tom, do you have any favorite plays or anything you are watching for tomorrow?
Yeah, a lot of stocks actually did pretty good. The market was very mixed. Some stocks were up, some were down. I noticed a lot of the plays like cruise lines were down. A lot of banks were all over the place. AMD was actually in the red. But what I did notice is that AMC, Mike, was actually up 13.3%. This was a huge uptrend today, all the way up to $14.75. I don't know if this is because Top Gun grossed $1 billion this past weekend or what, but man, I cannot believe that this is really uptrending. Maybe there's some renewed optimism towards these towards movie theaters, or maybe AMC short squeezing again. I don't know. Maybe Wall Street Bets is getting back in, but nonetheless, Mike, it's kind of flying up today, and who knows? Maybe we'll have a nice uptrend and continuation tomorrow. So definitely going to keep my eyes on this one. It was second on my watch list to Robinhood, of course.
All right, there we go. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments down below about this crazy market. Don't forget to subscribe, and let's have a great rest of the week.